And welcome to another edition of the Gringos Show. Glad to have you back with us. A lot of news happening this week, so let's get right to it. Voters in the U.S. went to the polls on Tuesday to vote in the midterm election to choose members of the 118th U.S. Congress, and the results were shocking to say the least. The Democrats are poised to lose control of Congress and be taken away by a huge red wave, with the exception of 1996 and 2002. This is something that has happened every single midterm election since Chabelo was a teenager. Things are changing every day, but it looks like we will not know who will run the Senate until there's a runoff in Georgia in December. The state has a rule that if a candidate does not get more than 50%, they need to do it again. The House is expected to go to the Republicans, but votes in close races are still being counted. And I have to use my forum to gloat a little, because I predicted exactly the outcome of this election last week on national television in Mexico. Take a look.
Rápidamente, Dan, antes de irnos, tus predicciones para el martes.
Yo tengo una predicción del Partido Republicano van a ganar 10 a 20 escaños en la Casa Baja. Los titulares ganan en Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, son seguros. Los demócratas toman Pennsylvania, Republicano gana Nevada. El Senado sigue 50-50 y el país sigue polarizado.
The pundits thought that most were motivated by rising inflation and the economy, and that did happen. But there was momentum about women's rights and the threats to democracy. But I have a theory about the power of Latinos in this election, and that there was a sharp increase in their support for Republican candidates in key races. And remember, I see Latinos, and your typical American will say, "What is Latino? Aren't all Mexican-speaking people just Mexican?" Let's run it down. In Florida, the Republicans swept many races, including in Miami, the land of the delicious Cuban sandwich. But the Latino vote in South Florida is large, and for the first time, the GOP won there. In Texas, although near McAllen, a Democrat defeated a Republican incumbent, the margins were much closer than they were, say, 10 to 20 years ago, where the Democrats used to blow it out. Beto O'Rourke, who appeared on this very show, lost his race, probably because he appeared on the show. What are you doing? You should have been doing something else. No, I'm just kidding. And in Nevada, where just 2 years ago they were celebrating the U.S.'s first Latina senator, her grandfather is from Chihuahua. Ay, Chihuahua! She is expected to lose against her Republican opponent. So why is this happening? And here's my theory. First, the economy and inflation have hurt minority communities, including the Latino community, much more than other groups. Second, Latinos are more Catholic, and they are likely to be anti-abortion, and this has been an issue in this particular race. Third, and this is just my theory, generally Latinos are not big fans of the woke movement. All of this Latinx and Black Lives Matter didn't resonate well in this very macho culture. And fourth, and this is the most shocking, many first or second generation U.S. citizens who are also Latino do not support immigration. They just want more controls and want the borders closed. So now this is all generalization, and there's a lot more analysis to be done since the election just happened, but good points to why the swing has occurred and supports my theory that Latinos gave Republicans more power after this election. And that's really disturbing, since 300 people were election deniers. And this could potentially be just re-elected Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who many call Trump but smart, could possibly be now the 47th president of the United States due to the Latino vote. This is my theory. The biggest loser in all this, Trump. This could be the beginning of the end for him, and just now that Hurricane Nicole is going straight for West Palm Beach and going to hit the east coast of Florida tomorrow. Coincidence? Who knows? Last week, Jefe de Gobierno of Mexico City, Claudia Sheinbaum, announced a new agreement with Airbnb to promote the city as the capital of creative tourism, which I guess to pursue more Americans and other foreigners to work from home. If you have been around the city in the past year or so, you'll notice that Julio's Brain Tacos have been replaced with Ashley's Vegan Delights. It's so trendy. And if you heard the joke, do you know that the Zona Rosa has a small Japanese and Korean community, and Condesa Roma has a small Mexican community? It's happening. And again, as I said on last week's show, I'm not hating. I think for years, Americans were embraced. People were surprised that we wanted to live here. And over time, that has turned to a vibrant culinary and art scene. Due to the innovation and insights, when people bring their dollars, it brings variety to the city, different cultures, different music. Because if I have to hear Fannie Lou one more time, bam, 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 tengo celos, I'm out. So these are the good things that are happening. But more dollars mean more rise in prices. El País, the newspaper, did a story about this and shared the plight of Alexandra, a 35-year-old screenwriter that paid 10,000 pesos a month for her apartment, whose lease was not renewed now because it's going to be for 91,000 pesos on Airbnb. So it is now a business, and opportunists can buy up remaining properties for short-term rentals, lowering the supply and driving the price for long-term accommodations. Scheinbaum was asked about this at the press conference, but she said that she didn't think Airbnb app gave any proof of that. But of course it does. Remember, this is only really affecting the areas of Polanco, Condesa Roma, Juarez, and Cuauhtemoc, what I like to call Little America. But this island could be pricing locals out and be reserved just for foreigners, which is really weird in the city. And then what happens if the foreigners decide that Mexico is not cool enough anymore? Yeah, pretty scary. In other news, AMLO in his morning press conference this week said when he's looking and analyzing talent for his team, he thinks that 90% should be about honesty and 10% is for intelligence. With this criteria, he should consider future cabinet secretary appointees, and I have a couple that I want to share that I think might meet this criteria. AMLO should consider Scooby-Doo, right? He likes anything, he loves snacks, but he's super honest and loyal. How about Goofy? Maybe he trips over himself, but he's a really good friend, especially to a duck that spits on him all the time. Maybe AMLO can consider Dory the fish. Doesn't know where she is or where she's going, but Nemo's there to help her, and she's just so sweet. What about Hardy? The guy got smacked all the time, but he never would have lied or left Laurel. He was very loyal to him. So just some ideas for any new cabinet appointees. That does it for this edition of The Gringo Show. Thanks for staying with us. If you've enjoyed the show, please make sure you like us on Facebook or YouTube. We read the papers, watch the news, and scroll through social media to share with you what's happening right here in Mexico so you don't have to. Have a great week.
Gringo, Mexico is laughing thanks to you.